The purpose of tonight's call, a lot of people, the fact that you signed up for this tells me you're feeling stuck somewhere in life, right? You're stuck financially, mentally, work, relationships is a big one, mindset, etc. And so I want to help you, number one, understand why you are where you're at. And then number two, how to get out of your own way, how to create change in your life. So for those that are new to me, I'm Heather Hakes. I'm a mindset coach. I've been doing this kind of work since 2017. After I quit corporate, a decade of tenure, it just wasn't for me. But I've truly been studying personal development, psychology, human behavior for more than 20 years. I was a nerd in high school, reading personal development books, trying to understand why we do what we do, how to create change, never felt like I fit in. Anyway, my backstory is in my book, Take the Leap. What I truly want you to know is your mind is the cause of every effect in your life. And I highly recommend to take notes during tonight's webinar. I want you actively paying attention rather than passively listening. And okay, so again, like I talked about in the very beginning, this is all about, how to get unstuck in life. That's what I hear from people most often. I'd love to hear from you. I want this to be an active webinar. I don't want to just talk at you. I can see you all in the side, so I'd love some nods or, hands up. A lot of people, oh, hi. A lot of people come to me feeling stuck in life, and I get it. I complained. I can have no filter. This is my show. I bitched and complained in all of my 20s to my parents, feeling like a hamster on a wheel, going through life's motions day in, day out, dreading Monday, cheering on Friday. And I knew there was an innate knowing that I was meant to do more in my life. So I want you to know, if you feel that way, it's what's called survival mode. If you're currently treading water, just getting by, life is rinse, wash, repeat, I want you to know there's so much more available for you. So tonight we're diving into, remember, why you're stuck and how to get out of your own way. Okay. For those new to my work, there's something that I offer, and it's on my website. If you've not taken it yet, I offer you take this. It's a free resource. It's called the Life Assessment. And what I want you to understand is most people I have found, and I've done many polls around this, most people lack clarity in their life. So I want you to know, if you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there. And so what this life assessment is, here's how I want you to think of it. All these different major life buckets: your health, mental, physical, emotional, your finances, career, work, relationships, social life, hobbies. These are all spokes on a wheel. That's how I imagine it. So if you think of it that way, all of these major life buckets, and I'm sure you've experienced this, and when one of them is off, let's say you're super stressed at work or with your finances, then I imagine it affects your relationships and your health. And the reason I say that is, what is the common denominator in all of these life buckets? You are, because remember, your mind is the cause of every effect in your life. But here's the thing. We've all been steered wrong. We've been taught since a very young age, you're sick, you go to a doctor. We've been taught that the answer is outside of us. Make more money, get a better job, then I'll be happy. This relationship sucks, well, I'll just get in a new one and then I'll be happier. But then you find out wherever you go, there you are. So what I really coach my clients through is change from the inside out. When you change the cause, your mind, your thoughts, emotions, actions, all of these spokes on a wheel, all of these life buckets change with them. So here's what I want to share with you. This is an average. Now, I've seen hundreds of life assessments come across my inbox, hundreds of them. Again, this is a general average, but generally speaking, the pink bar means that your potential is that everything is firing on all cylinders, that you would rank it from a 1 to a 10, everything a 10. That is your potential. Now, the blue bar is the average that I see, and you can see how none of these are even above a 5 on average, which means, and I know this from experience, most people are just getting by. Most people are living in mediocrity, status quo, this will do. And you know, the acronym YOLO, you only live once. No, you only die once, you live every day. And if you can get to the point in your life, which you can, I want to share with you my backstory. Radical change is possible. And for people getting by, mental health, and I know there's a lot of stressors out there, the economy, family, pressures, I get that. But if people are just getting by with a 3, relationships tend to be a big trigger for most. And I see that seriously, like between a 1 and a 2, generally speaking. Work career, a little higher, maybe a 4. Money is where a lot of people struggle, which, you know, that would be a whole nother webinar, but about understanding your money blueprint and why you're having struggles financially. And then finally, social life and hobbies. Think of this life bucket as like your joy, your happiness, your free time. And again, people are just getting by. So I want you to know, if you find yourself in this bucket, you're not alone, but there's so much greater change available for you. Again, if you have not taken the life assessment, 1, it helps creates clarity. 2, I ask you some questions like some short-term, long-term goals. It at least gives you forward focus. So take that on my website, heatherhakes.com. Okay. This is a tool. If you're going to write anything down, this is something I would write down. And I teach this often. It's what I call the thought cycle. Here's what I want you to understand. What we just talked about in the life assessment, all of those life buckets, those are your current results or your current outcomes, okay? What I want you to understand is that I like to reverse engineer. I'm very left-brained, but I'm also extremely intuitive, but this is how I learn. So I want you to know that everything in your life starts with thought. Your thoughts are the first domino, and your thoughts create your emotions and feelings, which leads to the actions or inactions you take. Did you know 80% of adults admit to procrastinating? I'm sure it's higher than that, but 80% of people procrastinate. So let me stop and ask right now, for those attending live, how many of you hit the snooze button in the mornings? We got like a 50-50. That's good. Here's the thing. If you wake up every morning and you hit the snooze button, you are starting your day procrastinating. And that is one habit I would kick in the can immediately, starting literally tomorrow. Stop doing that. And what it means is if you're waking up every day and hitting the snooze button, it's because your life is so predictable. You know how the day is going to go, and like it doesn't excite you. Been there, done that. Again, I'm going to share my backstory in just a moment, but that's one thing. How you do anything is how you do everything. So if you're hitting snooze, if you're procrastinating, that is something you've got to nip in the bud. So anyway, thoughts create emotions and feelings, leading to the actions or inactions, and create every result in your life. So how you can reverse engineer this from the life assessment, seeing your results, seeing where you're currently at, you can reverse engineer. What actions or inactions have I been taking? AKA inconsistency. Do you lack follow through, procrastinate, put things off, half-ass? Where are you at? Emotions and feelings. That's something I wasn't going to dive in today, but the emotional guidance scale, this is something you can Google. The highest emotion you can experience is love. The bottom is fear. In between is a spectrum. So you're either closer to love or closer to fear. It's very simple. Most people tend to be on that lower level of overwhelm, stress, bored, anger, resentment, worry, anxiousness, which is all closer to fear. Again, your emotions are leading to your actions, and everything begins with thought. At a very high level, because I do not want to overwhelm you today, I nerd out on this stuff. I eat, sleep, drink this, but I want you to know this. You have somewhere between 60 to 70,000 thoughts every single day. 80% of your daily thoughts tend to be negative, and 90% of today's thoughts are in repeat from yesterday. Knowing all of that, no, you cannot monitor 60 to 70,000 thoughts, but knowing that 90% are on repeat, this is where you start becoming aware, because I'd write this down. The first step in creating any change in your life is awareness. You have to get out of autopilot, out of sleepwalking through life, and start becoming aware of how you've been thinking and feeling. Those are the first steps to creating change. Does that make sense? I'm getting yeses. Okay, good. Okay, so how many, now this is not mainstream, but again, I nerd out on this stuff. How many of you have heard the term conscious mind and subconscious mind? Have you ever heard those terms? I'm getting yeses. Okay, well, I'm impressed because these are not mainstream terms, but if you've heard them, I just want you to know at a high level, your conscious mind is 5% of the picture. Your conscious mind are where you have desires, wishes, goals, and dreams. But the 95% running the show, I think of this as your OS, your operating system, is the subconscious mind. And from birth up until age 7, we are sponges, taking in everything as fact. Have you ever heard the term generational trauma? Yes. Okay, we're getting a no and we're getting yeses. Let me explain that real quick. As an example, so remember, from birth up until age 7, we're a sponge taking in everything as fact. Mom and dad's beliefs, behaviors, we learn modeling, community, religion, whatever you're around, you take in everything as fact because your analytical mind isn't formed yet. You can't start asking questions. So modeling, maybe or you have a sibling or you have a friend and they're like, oh, they're just like their dad. They're just like their mom. Can you picture someone like that right now? Mannerisms, beliefs, the way they talk, the way they walk. Yeah, we learned that at a young age. So back to generational trauma, think of it like this. Many people have a chokehold around money blueprint. They're living in fear, lack, scarcity, worry, paycheck to paycheck. That is your programming. That is your conditioning. And like, as an example, my Gma, who actually has a lot of money, comes from the Great Depression. So she has a very lack, fear, scarcity, guilt when she spends money because of the story she grew up in around her parents. So we either become replicas of our growing up or we do the opposite. And my mom did the opposite. My mom was like, that is not going to be my story. And so she started on, I'm very grateful for my mom. She started on her own personal development journey, learning this stuff before I was ever born. So she taught me this stuff at a young age. Again, you have the ability to reprogram your subconscious mind because it is full of your beliefs, memories, patterns, habits, these negative emotions keeping you in that negative feedback loop, thinking, feeling negative. The way you create change is to get past this line here is your analytical mind. The way to create change is getting past this, getting into, think of it like this. I'm very metaphorical. Think of your mind as a garden. The thoughts you think are the seeds you plant. You've heard this. You reap what you sow. So if the thoughts you think are the seeds you plant and you keep thinking them day in and day out, quote, fertilizing them, they become your beliefs. Now, what I call, like my coaching clients, what we call those is we've got to pull the weeds and plant new seeds. The weeds in your mental garden are things like, I'm not worthy, I'm not capable, I can't do this, I'm too old, I'm not experienced enough, whatever your limiting, disempowering beliefs keeping you back, those are the weeds in your mental garden. Does that make sense? I'm getting head nods. Okay, good. So again, it's the conscious, because here's the thing. Have you all ever heard of the term affirmations? I'm getting, yes. Okay, I got all nods on that one. So affirmations are great, but here's why they don't work on their own. Affirmations, and for those that have no idea what I'm talking about, an affirmation is like a affirmative statement. I am wealthy. I am abundant. I am healthy. I am fill in the blank with the condition you desire. But here's the thing about affirmations. They're using your conscious mind. So here's the thing. Pay attention to this. If you have a conscious desire, I am wealthy, I am abundant, but your subconscious programming is, I'm broke, money doesn't come easy, money doesn't grow on trees, whatever your money blueprint is. Do you see the disconnect? You cannot strong arm using your conscious mind trying to override 95% programming because your subconscious mind will throw it out. That's why you've got to learn to get past this and truly create change. Moving on. So I was doing some research, in preparation for this webinar. And here's what I want you to know. You know, the 1%, a lot of people are like, the 1%, they're just lucky. No, the 1% are doing things differently. A lot of men that I work with love Elon Musk. Elon, and I actually watched a documentary on Netflix on him last week. That guy has mental resilience. He embraces failure. He goes all in. He's fully committed, and he learns from it for his next step. Most people won't do those things, right? We've heard of the comfort zone. Most people are afraid of rejection and failure, so they don't even try. But I've learned to embrace failure. I love this acronym for failure. Well, for fail. First attempt in learning. I'm like, throw me in, coach. I'll figure it out as I go. So that is the kind of mindset you want when it's coming to new things. With, maybe you want to venture into business or investment opportunities. You can't be afraid to fail. Just be open to trying. So anyway, let me share some stats with you. So according to science, 8% of people reach their goals. And we know this. So the stat really is that 92% of people that set out on New Year's resolutions fail. And I want to explain to you why. Again, knowing that only 8% of people reach their goals, let's go back to the last slide, conscious mind, subconscious mind. So you have this conscious desire, lose weight, make more money, travel, get a better job, whatever, but it doesn't align. It's incongruent with the subconscious programming. You're never going to get there. So what I'm going to teach you, talk about is an identity shift. Let's back it up. So again, 80% of population don't set goals. And I have some of you here right now live. So let me just straight ask you, and please be honest. Do any of you currently have clarity in written goals? What you're doing this year? We got like 50-50. Thank you for being honest. One, is that what you're telling me? One, you have one. Okay, at least you're honest. So what I want you to know, think about it like this. That means 80% of people are going through life's motions, living in autopilot. Same shit, different day. 20% of people, on the other hand, do have goals, but again, they don't have that identity shift, so they never reach them. And this I found really amazing. 3% of Americans have written goals, and only 1% review them daily. The point of reviewing them daily, maybe you've heard this term, but repetition is the mother of skill. Another way, for those that work out, you know that you don't go to the gym one time and you're set for life, right? You have to create a lifestyle. You have to, consistency and repetition is the mother of skill. Now, I personally, this is by choice because I love it and it's good for my mental health. I love the endorphins, the energy of going. I go to the gym every single morning, or at least I really pretty much do every day, but I get movement every single day because again, like we want that energy moving. So we spend so much time sitting. So anyway, in order to become the 1%, you have to have written goals, 2, review them daily, and 3, an identity shift. Let me pause there. Has anyone ever heard that term, identity shift? Or what I call when I coach my clients is creating version 2.0. We upgrade our phones all the time. Who knows what version mine's on, like 16 point, a bunch of numbers. But our phones get upgraded all the time to, quote, remove bugs, repair, update. But it's like, when do we update our mind? When do we create growth and mindset and self-regulation, right? Disciplining the mind. A book that's coming to mind right now, I'm sure, have you ever heard of Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich? Everyone knows that book, Think and Grow Rich, but his other book that not a lot of people know about is Outwitting the Devil. I think that book's way better, but Outwitting the Devil, I'm getting a high, A-okay. That book, he talks about that mental discipline is your biggest problem. And it is, because if you can't discipline, we go back to the thought cycle. If you can't discipline your thoughts, you lose the day, because then you fall off track, you go down the rabbit hole, you latch onto thoughts of self-doubt, not enough, not capable, and yet you talk yourself out of greatness instead of into greatness. Okay, so I want to paint a picture of who I used to be. Let's talk about that identity shift in version 2.0. So here's where I was. This is back in, remember, I bitched and complained most of my 20s. I hated corporate. But for years, like I was in this pattern, this vicious cycle for years, dreading Monday, cheering on Friday. I hit the snooze button every single morning, 2 to 3 times, roll out of bed, rush to get ready, rush in traffic. And I pretty much was late every single morning because I hated my job. I was going through life's motions, which, a lot of people are living life on autopilot. And look, I'm not saying like your life does not have to be in shambles, but if you have any discomfort, if you have any just blah, you can create change, because guess what? People create change in their life from one of two things, either from a state of inspiration and motivation and wanting more, or from a complete state of pain and suffering. I want to offer you, do not get to rock bottom. That's really where I felt I ended up, was rock bottom. Like everything I thought I wanted, everything crumbled, and it crumbled fast and all at once. You do not have to wait until rock bottom to create change in your life. So again, back in this time, I was questioning my purpose. I literally used to go to Google and Google, what is my life purpose? Why am I here? What am I meant to be doing? Has anyone ever had that thought? What is my purpose? I'm getting nods. Thank you for being honest. Okay, so again, back to where I was overeating, over drinking. We all have numbing agents. So mine happened to be food and alcohol. Other numbing agents, shopping, sex, drugs. Apparently men, a big one for you all is porn, but we all have numbing agents. Social media, scrolling on social, that's another big one. Again, life felt monotonous. I procrastinated. I had a lot of self-doubt. I was in constant cycles of self-sabotage, which maybe you can relate to. Anyway, to sum all of this up, I was living life in autopilot. And remember, the subconscious is 95% of the picture, where all of your limiting belief and blocks are. So that's who I was. Now let's talk about version 2.0, this identity shift, what I did to create change in my life, because I want you to know that change is possible for you. So moving on. Fall of 2016, I'll give you a little more background, but this is in my book. So I was engaged to be married at 30. We just bought a new house. I climbed the corporate ladder. I'm traveling, money. Like I had everything that was, quote, supposed to make me happy, right? The American dream. Only to find out that dream wasn't mine. I was miserable. And I called off my wedding 2 months before, moved in with my parents, 3-hour commute, which is why all of that stuff was going on, right? Like I had all the things and I still wasn't happy. And maybe you have found yourself there too. You had business success. Maybe you got married or had children, did all the things you, quote, were supposed to do, but you still didn't feel fulfilled. Is anyone currently there, maybe not feeling fulfilled? I'm getting a yes and a, oh, I'm not sure. Fair enough. Okay, so fast forward to fall of 2016. Who here has heard of Tony Robbins? Okay, good. Everybody has. When I ask that question, some people say no. I'm like, how big is that rock you live under? Anyway, so Tony Robbins, I watched a documentary on Netflix. I Am Not Your Guru. Watch that. Something clicked, something resonated. That's where I had that ignited desire for change. And I ended up hiring my first coach through the Tony Robbins organization. Coach Dietz was my guy. Love him. Still in touch with him today. He's been on my podcast twice. But the point of having him, he gave me tools that I still use today. But here's what I loved about Dietz. He provided accountability, clarity, forward focus. So that was fall of 16. By June of 2017, I quit my 9-to-5. I got to travel the world. I've now created a business doing something I truly love, helping other people who are feeling stuck, stagnant, going through life's motions, because there is so much available to you. I truly feel at this moment in time, I am the most healthy mentally, spiritually, and emotionally that I've ever been. And I'm truly passionate. Like I wake up each day, I get to be here. I get to do this. So if you're not there, I want you to know that is possible for you. Okay, so I feel like I kind of fire hosed you, but right now I just want you, let's just take a break and just close your eyes for just a moment, and please just play along. So just close your eyes. And no matter where you're currently at in your life, financially, relationally, mental, physical health, etc., wherever you are, I want you to simply imagine a better future. What does your dream life look like? Where do you live? How do you spend your time? Who is surrounding you? I just want you to picture that. Just imagine it and feel it, because the mind is a very powerful tool, and whatever we can visualize, you can realize. I invite you to open your eyes when you're ready. I want to share this quote with you. Bob Proctor, I love him. He was, an OG in the personal development field. But his infamous quote was, whatever you can imagine in your mind, you can hold in your hand. He also said, everything is created twice, once in the imagination, once in 3D. So the fact that you could even take that a few second pause to imagine something better, that means it's possible for you. Okay, so there's 3 myths I want to debunk real quick, because again, if you feel like you're going through life's motions, autopilot, you can either survive in this lifetime by just getting by, or you can thrive in this lifetime. Either way, it's up to you. And I love this saying. I don't know if I truly started it, but maybe. So I haven't claimed it, but I do say it often. We've been taught that the sky is the limit. Like, no, the sky is not the limit. Your belief system is. Remember, because the mind is the cause of every effect. Whatever you believe to be true is true for you. So here's what I want to share 3 myths about change. Number 1, change is hard. We're going to debunk that. It takes a long time. We'll talk about that too. And finally, it's not possible for me. So myth number 1, change is hard. I want you to know that change is simple. Now, I'm not necessarily saying it's easy, but I truly want you to know change is very simple. If we go back to the thought cycle, thoughts, motions, actions, results, like that's how simple it is. Our mind likes to complicate things. We think we have to hustle and grind and earn it and work hard to make shit happen. That's also a paradigm and a belief system. That doesn't have to be your reality. So what I want to share with you, this is from a recent coaching client. He sent after 3 calls, and he said, even after 3 sessions, I feel a change. Can't wait to see, what the next 5 bring. So quickly, and actually I had a call today with a coaching client. This dude, talk about an alpha male. He's he's 54, retired state trooper in Missouri, and now he does consulting and stuff. But this guy's super left-brained. We're 2 calls in and he's fully committed. He's doing the work. And he's like, I have better energy. I'm sleeping better. I feel better. I'm more positive. That was 2 calls. That's why, and I'm only sharing this with you because I don't want this to be theory or philosophy. I want to give you tangible results. All right, myth number 2, change takes a long time. Again, a client testimonial. This is Sean Hopkins. He's a chiropractor, former client of mine. Loved Sean, but he said, prior to our coaching, I was very negative in my self-talk and I was lacking clarity and vision. I started to see things change almost immediately. And Sean loved the coaching so much, I actually ended up coaching his daughter, my youngest client. She was 24. Myth number 3, that change isn't possible for me. So this is from Julio, and Julio said that Heather's mindset coaching is deep, personal, and powerful. She is committed to ensuring that you master, number 1, self-awareness and disciplining your thoughts so that you can do your best, stay at your best, and feel at your best on a consistent basis. And here's what I want you to know about why I do what I do. You might think you're different or that you're special from anyone else, but guess what? In this human spectrum, I don't care your age. So I've had clients as young as 24, as old as 59. We all have the same limiting beliefs. We all have the same, I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, and we talk ourselves out of greatness. Now we have different backgrounds and experiences, but generally speaking, we all have those same common fundamental things self-sabotaging us. All right, so here's what I want to ask you where we're at right now. I want to ask you a simple question. If you had the opportunity to take this offline and have a a one-on-one call with me to talk through your current state, where you're at, to get help, is that something you would be interested in? And I'm getting the head nods. Okay, good. So here's what I want to offer you. You've stayed all this way. I do offer free 15-minute discovery calls for those that are seeking change in your life. If you're interested in that, it's a no obligation. You can book it directly on my website, heatherhakes.com. The button's right here to book a call. But again, as I shared in the beginning, knowledge alone is not power. Experiences, implementation is. Sean, that I just gave his testimonial, the one that I worked with his daughter. Here's what I want to show you. Again, tangible results. I don't want to just tell you about this stuff. So here's how Sean improved after just 6 coaching calls. So his original ranking is the white bar, and then the pink bar is after our coaching. So I did a pre-assessment and a post-assessment. He improved 30% mentally, 20% more productive, 20% financially, and 40% simply happier. And the big thing about Sean was he's a chiropractor. He had a lot of stress around finances and money is a super fun one I like to do. Huge client wins, that's tangible. And he had a huge breakthrough with money, like huge. So obviously that would make him happier. But he also, he's out in Pittsburgh. He started doing more. He got back into social life and hobbies and doing things that fills up his cup. Because remember, if you're doing the rinse, wash, repeat cycle, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting new results. So that's what I want to offer you. You can't keep going through life as you've been going. If we go back to the very beginning, the idea of an identity shift. I love the way Dr. Joe Dispenza explains this, that your personality, which is made up of 3 things, go back to the thought cycle. Your personality, your self-image, your persona is made up of your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Remember, we go back to 92% of people don't achieve their goals because they're trying to create change as the same personality. So how Dispenza says this is your personality creates your personal reality. In order to change your reality, you have to change your personality, which is how you think, feel, and the actions you take. Is that clear? Does that make sense? I'm getting yeses. Okay. So again, here's where I kind of want to round it out, that knowledge alone is not power. I hope you did take some notes. But experiences, implementation is, application is. And what I just want to offer you is that if you are ready to get unstuck in life, if you are ready for that identity shift and creating change, now is the time to take action. Now is not the time to put this off, to keep procrastinating on your life. So again, I just want to offer you an opportunity to book a free 15-minute discovery call. I have some openings available tomorrow, otherwise a few early next week. And here's how I want to wrap it up. So I just want to thank you for joining me and investing in yourself. And finally, I simply want you to know that change is not only possible for you, it's inevitable when you commit, when you go all in, when you make new choices. So